I was just thinking about the stuff up on Broadway last night. So I was coming home listening to the radio on Cairo 710, and just amazed. And I was surprised when I got home that there wasn't that much coverage on the news, on the TV news anyway.
Last night?
Yeah. What
time was that?
It was about 10 when I started listening, and then I was listening until about 3 in the morning. That was totally engrossed.
Do you live up on Capitol Hill?
No, but I just go up there a lot. My brother lives up there.
Right.
So and usually on Wednesday nights I go hang out on Broadway, but we just didn't last night for some reason. Luckily.
What's your opinion on what's going on?
Well, I mean, I felt like the police had handled it well up until last night. I thought they were very restrained, and then going up on the Broadway, I don't know why they pushed everyone up on the Broadway and then followed them up and then got out of control, and why they were, you hear all these people were calling in on the radio last night saying they were just coming out of their apartments looking to see what was going on. They get pepper sprayed in the face and knocked to the ground and whatever. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense why it got so out of control on Broadway, and if the no protest zone is downtown, then why couldn't people assemble up on Broadway? And I think it's probably going to be a lot more demonstrators up on Broadway that are just angry residents that are just protesting the police actions. It's kind of turning into a whole nother thing.
You live on Capitol Hill?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Tell Shell to go to hell.
Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, the Capitol Hill has been turned into a war zone. The police were rioting on the streets last night. The neighbors and people who were living here, the residents, were the ones protecting windows and protecting each other against the abuses of violent police. It was ridiculous. I've been talking to people all day who were, going to return a videotape, or going to pick up their kid from their neighbor's house, or going to walk their dog while they were, and who were, thrown on the ground, pepper sprayed, pushed around, tear gassed, shot with rubber bullets. Someone taking his trash out, threw the bag up into the dumpster and got shot 6 times with rubber bullets because all they saw was someone throwing something. It's chaos. Last night was a sickening display of overzealousness.
How did it start?
How did it start? It's hard to tell. The police, the boundaries of the supposed no protest zone were crossed, but then people were pushed up further, past the no protest zone, and there was a face-off, there was a standoff, and then even after the protesters dispersed, the police were running crazy on the streets with regular civilians around.
Yesterday, it was completely non-violent, and they used even more force and worse gas, and they chased us up here after a peaceful march all the way at no vandalism. When they were gassing us downtown, we were sitting there just saying peaceful protest while they shot at us and gassed us, and we didn't provoke it at all. There were like, I saw business ladies walking home from work getting gas, and like little kids in the street with their parents, visiting Pikes Market because they were in town at the wrong time or something.
They were bouncing them off buildings.
I live up here. I came up here and I got on the wrong side of the line. I couldn't even get home because everywhere I went, I just got tear gas shot at me just trying to come home.
From what it looked like, it was more of like the Free Mumia March. They came up, they went about 3 blocks this way, they came back by the time, by the time they got back down to this corner, they were met by all the marchers from downtown. And they marched a few times on Broadway. As merchants, we didn't get any warning that, and we had warning that the marches were coming through. We saw the police vehicles, but as far as the gassing, the restaurants and stuff were still very full of people. There's not a whole lot of, and there weren't many options to get back off of Broadway.
So like what happened? They just...
They started, well, at this corner, there was a line of protesters across, there were protesters on both these corners, and there was a line of police across this intersection. From what this gentleman was also here with me. And at the point they had started gassing, I guess they gassed down here first, but then they started gassing the protesters at the corners and pushing people back towards Dick's, and they started stampeding them. and actually just pretty much tackling the people to the ground, hauling off what they could. We eventually left up here, but the gas was getting in all the storefronts, and there wasn't really much of a way off Broadway. It was like from here, because there was a police line here and there was a police line back here as well. So I mean, we finally got off, of course, and got out of here. But it's pretty interesting. Front row seats for the whole thing.
What's your opinion?
It seemed, as much as they'd like to say the protesters are disorganized, I'd like to say that the law enforcement seemed a little disorganized as well. I'm not saying by police, I'm saying probably far over their heads. There wasn't enough forewarning, I thought, for the merchants. I didn't feel it was very safe the way they handled it. So, we ate a lot of tear gas just trying to keep our doors open.
Well, nobody likes it. I didn't like it. Because everybody got a right to say what they want to say without, getting, shot at or tear gas. One thing I did not like about it, when they tear gas at people's downtown, they didn't consider that there were little kids down there, 2 people's children, I mean, you want to tear gas off in your little kids' face and stuff like that, And I think that was very sad. That was ugly. There was no cause for that. Nobody talked about nothing, they just started blasting people, They didn't care if people had kids or anything, I don't think it was right. They knew it wasn't right. They did it just because they were wearing a badge, as far as I'm concerned. They can do anything they want,
It's not about WTO anymore, like around here, I guess. And like a friend of mine is from Germany. He was talking to his dad in Germany, and they didn't show what like anti-WTO was. Like what they were against it. What they were just all they were showing was the riots, like breaking the window and everything. And he was totally like worried about my friend and everything. That was about it. They were not showing the true meaning of like going against WTO.
When did you board your windows out?
Monday night.
Monday night, yeah. Because the day before they were marching on Broadway, and they went into the Gap or something and knocked everything down. So we'd be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that individuals can make change?
Yeah, but not with violence. Like by breaking the window or stealing stuff, it's not gonna change that those like the true protesters were doing that, like the non-violent protesting, but like some like minority people, like those like small groups of people, they just totally fucked it up.
I think the media, as usual, is over, what do you call it? What's my English? Like with everything what is happening in this country, the media is always overplaying everything. Everything becomes a big thing. There were very good things going on the last couple of days. My husband was in the teaching at the music concert hall. No, what is that?
Which concert hall? The Bennett Royal Hall?
Yeah, there was a teaching. It was completely sold out. It was very good. My husband walked with the church organization, and he started to walk on the last, I don't know. Anyway, I couldn't go because I was sick. I think the police is overacting. The first night when they had trouble, they should have protected the business instead of standing there and waiting until they smash the windows. I think the police, who's that guy who is running the show, I think the mayor will not be re-elected. That I hope. The people do not re-elect him.
What do you think about what the police coming into the Capitol Hill area last night?
I think it's outrageous, but I expected that.
Yeah.
I said to my husband, you will see, they chase them from downtown up. And where do they go? Broadway, right? Where would they go? There's no other place to go. I mean, why do they chase them around? I think the police is completely out of step. They are provoking each other. And if I would be some of the young people and get the rubber bullets and the pepper spray and whatever else, you know, I would get crazy myself. I think it's outrageous what the police is doing.
Oh, hang on.
Actually, I was here. I got caught in the middle of the whole thing.
How did it start?
I don't know how it started, but all I know is that a friend dropped me, and before I knew it, I was surrounded by policemen. And I was really, really scared. But luckily, one of them escorted me into the shop, and I was able to watch most of it from the roof. And I didn't feel good about it at all. I didn't like the idea of police just throwing grenades and tear gas at kids. Most of the people were kids, and they didn't seem like they were harming anybody. They kept saying, "Why are you guys doing this to us?" And I don't know, it just didn't feel. I was scared in case it's my child. I wouldn't want them treated like that. Yeah.
So what do you think about the WTO?
I'm totally against the WTO.
Well, why?
Because I think first of all, I've heard that it's a part of, it's mainly for wealthy people, for wealthy nations, and it does not protect the developing world. So for that, it's not that I'm against them, it's just that I think that they should listen to more people. Yeah.
Oh God, another video camera. Where are you from? Come on.
Yeah, you know this badge by now, don't you?
No, what is it?
It's the Independent Media Center.
Okay, I got a few things to tell you about.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
It's also for me.
You heard of what happened on Broadway, right? Heard about what happened on Broadway last night?
I was here, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We were in our apartment building down here, and we were watching television. You know, I've never protested anything in my whole life. The gas comes 4 blocks ahead of the cops, if you saw it. I looked out my window, saw like an 8-year-old kid, little tiny kid, diving in a doorway with tears streaming down his face, his mother screaming behind him. All of a sudden, 2 doors down from me, little old lady starts screaming. A tear gas container had been lobbed right through her open window. We tossed the tear gas back out the window. The whole building was full of tear gas, so everybody ran out of the building. When I got outside the door, and when your building fills with tear gas, you leave the building, okay? 5 feet away from me, a policeman with a rifle, the second I got out my door, runs me down from 5 feet away from maybe 2 feet, shoots me in the crotch with a cluster bomb. I was watching television in my apartment. My entire body is covered with these round scars. You know, I did nothing to anyone. Yeah, I didn't get any of those. Yeah. Now look at this. How bizarre is this? And everybody in my building thought when we woke up this morning, we'd turn on the TV and Mayor Shell would be getting kicked out of office. But it wasn't even mentioned on the television. You know, and so everybody around here, we're just outraged and beyond outraged. We were literally terrorized by the SPD in our own home. I've never protested anything in my life. My body's covered with scars.
What do you think about the WTO?
I never had any opinion at all. We were watching television in our apartment. I had no opinion. And the protesters walking up in the street, we didn't care a single bit. They weren't disrupting anything. I mean, you know, they're blocking the street, but we're used to that in this neighborhood. We get protest marches on this street all the time, and nobody cares. You know, and when they swept the street, all the protesters were down at the college. They swept the street knowing that they were attacking little old ladies, little children, gassing them, bombing them. You know, I was in the San Francisco earthquake, and I have never seen the violence, the fear, the terror that the SPD inflicted on this neighborhood last night. It's outrageous. It's totally outrageous.
Thank you so much.